Hello. So I wasn't going to do a video today, and then all my housemates went out. So I'm taking the opportunity of a quiet house, and I'm going to show you some books that I have. They're all children's books because I'm training to be a primary school teacher, so I'm not short of children's books, and I've picked out some really cute ones. So my first one is Hansel and Gretel. They're all bendy soft books, as I call them. I used to love these as a child because I like the feel of them. And this is an Anthony Brown book, so it's quite dark. It has a squiggle on the front because I got it from Amazon. It was used, so it was reduced, but I wasn't expecting that on the front. But never mind. So, like I say, it has some really dark images in it. That's the witch, accent. And let's see, find one of the house. Now this is the house that they live in. The pictures are really grungy and industrial, I think. I had to write about this book for one of my English projects, and I really enjoyed writing about it because there's a lot to look at, a lot to talk about, even though it's just a children's book. There's so much more to it. There's the house. Anthony Brown is a picture book artist. I have a few books by him, but this is one of my favourites. It's probably for older readers, this one. The next one I've got is a little bit lighter. It's Princess Smarty Pants by Babette Cole, and it says on the back, Princess Smarty Pants does not want to get married. She enjoys being a Ms, but being a rich and pretty princess means that all the princes want her to be their missus. So basically it's like a funny book on how Princess Smarty Pants avoids getting married. And all the princes come each one by one and come and try and impress her. But she's really smart, so she can outdo them in a way. I like funny books. I think it's important for children to read books that have meaning but with comedy in. Oops. The next one I'll show you is Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters. I also have to look at, for my English task I had to look at books that were multicultural. So to this one, which again I think it's important for children to see different cultures, how they work, what they do. And there are some beautiful paintings in this one. It's about becoming queen of the land and which sister will become that. So it's very cultural, and stories like these can sort of inspire children to look at different cultures, and it can be a good starting point really for lessons in RE or geography, that kind of thing. I'm having to put them on the floor next to me because my desk isn't big enough. And the next one I've got is called Hair in Funny Places. Now really I've bought this book but I had no idea when I'd use it because it's about puberty, but it is a children's book. It's just sort of a child-friendly way of explaining puberty. So I suppose if I was ever in upper key stage 2 when a child was asking me about these kind of things, I'd probably read this story to them to sort of introduce it, kind of thing. When your mum was little, she was just like you. And it goes through various stages. Boobies. And how people look different, and spots, and mood swings. And falling in love. I think if I'd have written this book, some of it I would have left out. But I suppose if I ever need it, or if when I have my own children, if I need to sort of introduce it to them, it's sort of a light-hearted way of introducing it. The Times have called it an icebreaker, which is one way of putting it. And then, last but not least, my favourite book. I remember the first time I read it was in English last year, and my course mate read it out, and I actually cried. And I don't just cry at anything, it's really sad. And it's called The Big Ugly Monster and the Little Stone Rabbit, and it's about basically this really ugly monster. Let me get a picture of him. And he lives in a cave. Where's he gone? There we go. He lives in a cave, and every time he comes out of his cave, all the animals run away from him because he's ugly and he has no friends. And it goes on to say like how ugly he is. So he was so ugly that if he looked up at the blue sky on a sunny day, it would most likely turn grey and pour with rain or even snow. He was so ugly that if he stepped into a pond for a swim, it would instantly dry up with a hiss of steam. That's how ugly he was. So he was so lonely that he used to talk to rocks, and then one day he decided to make sculptures out of the rocks. So he makes all these animal sculptures, but because he's so ugly, they all break. It's so sad. Except for this stone rabbit, and it doesn't crack at all. So he tries to make it crack to test it. So he does an extra big smile, and still the rabbit doesn't crack. The monster sang to the stone rabbit, and when he sang, rocks would shatter and split for miles around. And though the rabbit never joined in, not even for the chorus, still the monster was happy. So he's got like a friend. And they danced together. Well, the stone monster enjoyed dancing with him. And though the rabbit never joined in, not even to tap his foot, the monster was happy nonetheless. So he does all these things with this stone rabbit, and then years and years go by, and he grows old with him. And he gets really old, this monster, and then a time comes where he can't do any tricks or dances or anything, so he starts playing drafts with the rabbit, although it doesn't move. And then it says, but one day the monster never came out of his cave, and the stone rabbit sat alone. So, obviously he's died. And then that very day he's died, the land's pretty again. So basically you could misinterpret the book, I think. I was reading some Amazon reviews, and people were saying how horrible it was, because you could interpret it as he was an ugly monster, and until he died, everything avoided him except for one little rabbit. But I think it's a story about friendship, because even though the rabbit didn't do anything, he was still a friend for the monster and still accompanied him when everything else avoided him. It's really sad, but I think, again, it's another starting point for a lot of different lessons about friendship or people looking different. And giving people a chance. I think it's so lovely. It's so nicely written as well. But yeah, I had tears in my eyes the first time I read it. It's by Chris Wormel. I would read this to older readers because I don't want a class of 5-year-olds crying. So there we are, that's a little view of what I have in terms of children's books. I have quite a few. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again soon.